they came to the upstate, originally settled in Old 96, and around Abbeville and that area. Came to the upstate probably late 17, early 1800s. There were two brothers who settled in this area. One stayed and then the other went back to the old 96 area. And then at that point, not certain of the history, we do know that this location opened in 1909, where we currently are. There was a smaller mill down the creek where the Mitsubishi plant is now. Probably, I would say mid to late 1800s. They moved here because this is actually, the wheel is larger and it's also what we call an overhang. So the water comes over the wheel versus feeding in from the side. So they settled here. Our mill pond is actually at the top of the hill. A couple of years later, the railroad actually came through. And so rather than cut us off from our mill pond, they actually built the railroad over our mill pond. So the top of the hill, there's a large culvert, which is just a tunnel. You can walk under the railroad and get to the other side where our mill pond is. That collects water from creeks that flow into it. It holds it into, we have a holding pond there, large gate that keeps the water, and then a smaller gate off to the side which diverts the water to the top of the hill here. There's what we call a race, which is just a wide, shallow creek. We have a small gate. We open that up. It fills up here. Above the wheel, there's a very small gate. Dad lifts that up. The water comes down the trough. Water turns the wheel. Wheel turns the stone. Stone grinds the corn. I think the really interesting thing about Suber's Mill and companies like it is that it is living history. So we have customers come here all the time, and they're multiple generations. So great-grandmother, grandfather, daughter, great-great-granddaughter, and they love to just walk around, see the operation, see the wheel turning, see us grinding the corn, mixing the corn mill. The process-wise, it's pretty much the same as it's been for hundreds of years. We use a stone, 2 stones to grind the corn. We then sift out the bran, and then to make self-rising corn meal, we add baking soda, baking powder, and salt, and mix that up. Some people also buy the plain. We also grind old-style grits that we will sell on a small batch. People always tell us that the fascinating thing is that you don't really see something like this in the modern era. It's for us, it's been in our family for multiple generations. I grew up here. My dad grew up here. His grandfather and father grew up in this area, and so on and so on. So for us, it's our daily grind, so to speak. But for our visitors, it really is an interesting thing to see, and a kind of a snapshot into history. I think that the interesting thing is when people first see it and see the wheel turning, and if particularly those who are engineers or mechanically inclined or interested in that type of process want to see the motor that turns the wheel. So we always joke and say, well, the water's the motor. As long as we have water, we have power. When the water goes low, we close up the dam and let it build back up. But no water, no power. And my father, my grandmother, and grandfather always said that it was the water power turning the stone that gives the flavor to our corn mill. Like with any business, as of today, we did some repairs over the last couple of weeks on the trough and up at the mill pond. As with any business, there minor glitches or things happen, and we have to make minor repairs. But we continue to run every Saturday, and would just encourage people, if they've not been here, to come out and visit with us, take a tour, bring family, and come see us. So it's Suber's Corn Mill. It's 2002 Suber Mill Road, right off Wade Hampton Boulevard in Greer. We are open on Saturdays from 9 until 3.